Part one. Houston, we have a problem. Intuition is perception via the unconscious that brings forth ideas, images, new possibilities, and ways out of blocked situations. Carl Jung. Chapter 1. Yeasty Intuition. I went looking for God and found myself. I just might be the biggest hypocrite I know with the best intentions. The more pain I put myself through, the more it causes me to go within to search for answers. I was searching for the true meaning of being here. When life seems to go horribly wrong, most people turn to the Lord. However, I gave up religion almost 2 decades ago, but that's a whole different story. So when I went and searched for answers from God, the answers all seemed to come from me, pointing back to me. I was the person creating the problems in my life. I don't remember exactly when I came to this conclusion. What I do know is that when my life began to fall apart, the only common denominator was me. I had an excuse for everything and for everyone who came and went in my life. Every failed relationship, hell, even the fact that I was poor at one time, I felt had to be my fault. Like, really, how could God be so cruel? What was the point of making me suffer? Why not just give me all the answers so I can live a happy, prosperous life? I was frustrated. Here I am on the cusp of a new decade in my life. And what did I really have to show for it? I couldn't seem to keep a man long enough to get on track towards forever. I had no kids, which I considered a bonus, although I thought I was ready for children. I have a handful of people I could call on in a time of need, but none of them ever seemed to give me advice that completely touched me. It lit sparks of light and gave me ideas and routes to take. Still, it wasn't until I had made enough mistakes based on the opinions of others and I started actually listening to my advice that I began to notice I was the common denominator of my troubles. I had to stop living my life as the victim of my own bullshit. My fault. I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Precious, but I prefer to go by Jewel, which is really my middle name. I think I started doing that just to spite my mom. My dad gave me my middle name, and most people, including my mom, say I look like him. Since his ass was hardly ever around, I missed and longed for his love so deeply that I began going by the name he gave me just to have some sort of connection. I could tell it got on her nerves because she couldn't help but mention everything about me that reminded her of the man who walked out on the family she tried so hard to create with him. To make it simple, though, my friends call me PJ, so you can too. Meanwhile, I'm up at 2 a.m., furious at myself. I woke up knowing that I had let myself down to a point so low that I was able to catch a STD. Well, not exactly. I have a yeast infection. My pussy was on fire. Literally, it was burning so bad that it woke me out my sleep at 2 in the fucking morning. If you know me, you know I like to get my sleep when I want it. So for this to be disruptive so late in the night, I was pissed off. I knew what the cause of this terrible pain was. I have been paying attention to myself and my energy this year after acquiring some ancient knowledge. I was going through a metamorphosis during my spiritual reawakening. So for my pussy to be on fire was absolutely an attempt from my higher consciousness to get my attention. When you dream, it's the subconscious that is giving you messages for growth. When awake, your higher self is guiding your consciousness. Therefore, I knew this required some further analysis. Being a Scorpio is not what they have grouped us to be. I myself am a sapiosexual. There must be a mental connection to get to my panties and get them off. We typically pride ourselves on being alluring, seductive, rather than promiscuous. That is, if you have morals, boundaries, and values, which I do. So for me to be sitting here with my pussy on fire was unacceptable. By the way, I call her Miss Mocha. Pussy sounds so low quality and readily acceptable. Miss Mocha was very unhappy with me and the decisions I had been making. And my higher self desperately wanted to get a hold of my attention. It desperately wanted to let me know that what I had been doing with my temple was unacceptable. I had been misappropriating my most valuable asset, which is myself, my body, my energy, my money, and my time. My Bamboo was the toxic energy that I allowed to enter into my vessel that was disrupting my energy, my aura, and my hormonal and physical imbalance. Yet I couldn't get mad at just him. Ultimately, I was mad at myself because I invited him in. Boy, oh boy, it was a hell of a ride. But by the time I knew I should have left his ass alone, the thought of him knee deep in me, followed by oral disrespect of my labia, held me hostage. My intuition is telling me I need to get up and soak my love box in a goat milk bath with those bath bombs that are in there. That way, I'll tame the fire down there long enough to recharge. I'm learning to recognize how my spirit speaks to me. Instead of ignoring the overwhelming urge to use those milk bombs I haven't thought about in over 4 months, I'm going to listen to my intuition, knowing that this will help me get relief so I can sleep. Just because I have birth control protection doesn't mean that having unprotected sex was a wise decision. Being all willy-nilly with my yoni has caused my self-worth to be quite low, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'm feeling as though I just keep making the wrong decisions. I know what I said to manifest this man into my life wasn't of the highest vibration, but I was only looking to protect my heart. My spell went something like this. I want to have fun, no strings attached. I'm tired of attracting men who lead me to think they want more from me than just sex, only to find out all they really wanted was sex. He must make good money, have a few rough edges, and be ready to blow my back out often. Somehow, I still allow myself to get my heartstrings attached. It seems like there's a direct link between Miss Mocha and my heart, especially when the vitamin D is good. The better he fucked me, the more strings formed to my heart. I should have been a prostitute. I was already misappropriating my most valuable asset around here, passing out high class grade A service for free. If I sold it, I would have been a billionaire by now. At least hoes get paid for this shit, especially the high class ones. They are paid to provide an experience. And I'm around here passing out the therapist, girlfriend, sometimes the wifey, and even the stepmom experience for free. This dude was toxic to me. and Miss Mocha. To add insult to injury, on top of being inconsistent, arrogant, cigarette smoking, and always needing a favor ass mofo in my life, now he owes me money. It may have felt good for a little while, but being a part of his life have become a chore. I have been a hypocrite this entire time. From the moment I found out he smoked cigarettes, I should have been walking away. I'm entitled to my preferences, but I'm learning more now as I sit here on fire that is bigger than a preference. His smoking is a reflection of his mental state and a reflection of how well he takes care of himself and his health. He should have never been allowed to penetrate me. We don't share the same views on health, and that was my first indication or red flag, as they say. I don't even like that my dad smokes cigarettes. I'm so glad my mom quit. But yet I'm allowing myself to make it okay for me to romantically and intimately be involved with someone who smokes. This was me being a hypocritical. This was me being hypocritical about my values. I knew I didn't want this, but once again, I made it all right in my mind because I didn't want anything serious. It shouldn't matter if he doesn't meet all the boyfriend standards, whether he's on the path to forever or we're just here to bust a nut at night. Why go backwards rather than forward? Yet, it took for me to have hell between my legs to figure this shit out. All the pimps, players, and panty slayers in my family have always told me the game is to be sold, not told. So if you ready and really want to know what happened, buckle up for a ride, motherfucker. It's time to roll. I thought I had healed from my upbringing because I had accomplished so much for myself. I didn't consider myself to be angry or bitter. I was a pleasure to be around. Not to mention, I was the ultimate bad bitch. Now, in this modern time, that simply meant that you had a nice shape, wore designer clothing, and were abreast of most things trending. Those who truly know that the baddest bitch embodies everything that she wants and she's moving in the direction of her purpose. She's satisfied with her life. It has nothing to do with whether or not her shape coincides with America's Next Top Model or if her closet is filled with names owned by companies that do not look like her and who do not endorse her or support people who look like her. But for me, a bad bitch is the one with a brilliant brain, a fat bank account, and an awesome credit score, and a personality that's able to entice and motivate, captivate, and comfort all at the same damn time. At the age of 28, I'm pulling that shit off quite masterfully. I have 2 bachelor's degrees. My waist is 26 inches, nicely snatched with a curvy, proportioned backside. My 38 double D's sit up nicely. I'm down to earth. My friends love me. My family may criticize and ridicule me, but they admire me even though they may not say it. The first time I knew that I should get rid of the man who gave Miss Mocha the kiss of death was when he asked me for $250. Now, $250 is not particularly a lot of money, right? But it was the fact that I had only known him for like 3 weeks, if that. By now, I think he had put it on me a couple of good times. At the end of the day, why would he feel so comfortable asking a woman he's barely known a month for $250? From my perspective, as a man, I thought he should be embarrassed to ask me for money. It never occurred to me that he was on some scheme and shit. Furthermore, why doesn't anyone you know or are currently working with have $250 to give you? He was a construction worker and traveled for work. So he was with a group of guys in the same home who worked at the same facility. So why isn't anyone within your crew able to loan you this money? He had a reason that slightly made sense, and he promised to return it to me within 3 days when he got paid. Now my ego was activated and heartstrings began to form. Not only had he been to my home, which caused him to believe I could afford to loan him this kind of money, but my heart said, OMG, he needs some help. I could help him. He knows that I got a little bit of money. He's been to my house, which was a mistake. I don't know if I neglected to tell you and mention that I built a 3,000 square foot, $500,000 home. I should be acknowledging the fact that I'm the one who manifested him into my inner sanctuary. This is me repeating cycles. I'm repeating the fact that I am neglecting to acknowledge my intuition, which tells me when to go in a different direction. It would make the journey a whole lot smoother. Yet for some reason, I choose the hard route. I'm done doing that shit because this right here is ridiculous. How many times am I going to make the same mistake? Especially if I got to go through all this bullshit. I definitely should have been getting paid. I want to tell you more about this nigga right now, but I must get some sleep before the relief from those goat milk bath bombs wear off. But don't worry, I got you.